When people think about the fall of Rome, they usually imagine wars, barbarians at the gates, shattered armies, palace conspiracies, and all that. But the truth isn't exactly like that. Empires don't collapse only because of external attacks. The real downfall begins when they start to rot from within. And one of the biggest factors that accelerates this decay is money. Rome experienced exactly this. It didn't fall just because of conflicts. It collapsed because its economy broke down. And honestly, this is a lesson that still applies today. Think about it like this. During Rome's strongest period, they used a currency called the denarius. It was made almost entirely of silver. Soldiers were paid with it, merchants accepted it, and people saved their wealth with it. So it wasn't just money. It was a physical representation of people's trust in Rome. As long as Rome was strong, its money was strong too. If people trusted the state, they trusted its currency. But here's where the problem started. As the empire expanded, expenses grew too. Constant wars, border defenses, soldiers' salaries, roads, massive constructions. Eventually, money wasn't enough. Taxes were increased, but that made people angry and led to unrest. So emperors chose an easier solution. They started reducing the amount of silver in the coins. So, from the outside, the coins looked the same. But inside, they were losing value. At first, maybe people didn't notice much. But over time, everyone began to realize. Things that once cost 1 denarius became 5, then 10, then 20. In other words, inflation began. And this didn't just affect the economy, it directly impacted people's lives. Soldiers started saying this salary isn't enough and demanded more. Merchants stopped accepting worthless coins. People turned to gold or barter. The economy slowly started to fall apart. And the worst part? It turned into a vicious cycle. Money loses value, prices rise. The state prints more money, money loses even more value. Eventually, the system completely broke down. The government tried to fix it by controlling prices. They said no one can sell above this price. But it didn't work. Because the problem wasn't the prices. It was the money itself. The result. Black markets exploded and normal trade collapsed. People realized something very simple. You can't make a worthless currency valuable just by passing laws. In the end, Rome abandoned this currency and introduced gold coins. It worked for a while, but for the Western Roman Empire, it was already too late. The economy had already collapsed. So Rome didn't fall in a single day. It fell slowly. And one of the biggest reasons behind that collapse was the destruction of its economy. Now here's the real point. This isn't just an old story. The same thing has happened again and again throughout history. In Germany at one point, money became so worthless that people carried their salaries in sacks. You needed huge amounts of cash just to buy a loaf of bread. In Zimbabwe, prices doubled almost every day. Money literally turned into pieces of paper. If you look at today, things may seem different, but the logic is the same. Money still exists, it looks the same, but its purchasing power keeps decreasing. Think about how much something that once cost 1 lira costs now. From the outside, everything looks normal, but internally, a collapse is happening. Governments usually don't make this obvious. They say inflation, growth, economic development. But what's really happening is simple. The value of money slowly declines, and the people who pay the price the most are ordinary people. Salaried workers, savers, retirees. There are a few clear lessons to take from this. Inflation is rarely a coincidence, it's a result. Real wealth isn't just money. Things like land, production, and skills are more lasting. And most importantly, no state stays strong forever. People in Rome didn't think, one day our money will become worthless. Germans didn't think that either. No one in Zimbabwe expected it. But it happened in all of them. And here's the most critical point. When money loses its value, it's not just the economy that breaks down. Society starts to fall apart too. Trade collapses, trust between people disappears, and the state begins to crumble. So yes, barbarians may have delivered the final blow. But what truly led Rome to collapse wasn't the enemies outside. It was the economic collapse from within.